Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the final InCompass conference, and welcome to Scotland House. My name is Veronica Lynch, and I'm the Director of External Relations at Dundee and Angus College, but I'm also privileged to be the project leader of the InCompass project, for which we've had a fantastic partnership, and I'd like to tell you about some of the achievements that we've made in the 3 years that we've been working together. So very much a partnership project with 15 partners from across Europe, covering the complete geography of Europe, and each of the partners had a specific role in delivering the project, which includes national government agencies, regional government agencies, industry organisations, and also academic institutions. So a range of strengths that we've had across the partnership. And the purpose of the project has been to identify financially sustainable models for business incubation across Europe, specifically for the creative industries. So identifying those models that have reducing the requirements for accessing public funding, and how can we then apply those across our wider regional partnerships. We've done this through focusing on 3 key strands. So firstly, commercial contextualisation, identifying what were the assets within those incubator organisations and how could they capitalise on those assets to generate additional financial revenue streams. Secondly, the social contextualisation and the whole community around the organisation. And thirdly, the tiers of support, looking at areas like mentoring, like knowledge transfer, community engagement, and building that whole networking tiers to support the incubatees within the incubator. All of those activities were then disseminated through our thematic seminars, for which we had 7 models that were viewed across Europe, and 29 particular incubators were identified as part of that study visit activity. And those findings were then disseminated back within our own regions into our regional implementation groups. So we identified what those good practices were and looked at the ones that were transferable. Which ones could we actually embed within our own organisations? And then those that have been able to be transferable are then adopted as part of our own regional implementation planning process. And that process has engaged policymakers from across our regions, which has the spectrum of government agencies, academic institutions, industry bodies, and also the incubators themselves and the incubatees as part of that process. So each region, of which we have 12, will have a regional implementation plan that will embed those learnings from the project. Here were all the milestones and the timings of the various study visits that we undertook during the project, and you'll see all of that culminating in today's final conference. In terms of what we've actually achieved in the 3-year partnership timeframe, in excess of 15,000 people have been engaged in the project across 73 national, international, and regional events. We have 7 incubation reports, for which you have copies of all of those in your delegate pack in the USB stick. And across those 29 incubators, we identified 170 good practices. We've then had an amazing job to then narrow those down into what the best practices were, and we've identified those as 16 best practices across the piece. And as a result of those, we've been able to create an InCompass best practices toolkit for policymakers. And this afternoon's session, you'll have the opportunity to see in practice how that toolkit can be applied within your own organisation. All of that activity has then gone towards creating our own regional implementation plans, and very much this project has focused on creating deeper engagement between all our partner stakeholder organisations that has actually influenced regional policy. That's really what this project has been about. How can we then take that knowledge and transfer it and embed it into our own organisations? And we're seeing that working very well in practice. We also have longevity beyond the project. So while we had some of these achievements for the duration of the project, we're also looking at what happens now. And there are currently 34 potential collaborations and spin-offs that have come from those partnership arrangements and those discussions. And this is just a selection of what these might be. And what I'd like you to do during the lunch break and during the drinks reception following the event today, please take the opportunity to chat to some of our partners about some of these opportunities, because there may very well be an opportunity to participate in some of these. So certainly building upon the InCompass findings that we've had over the 3-year window. One very exciting opportunity is the creation of a virtual incubator project across Europe, and that's led by our Hungary partner PBN, and Balázs will be speaking at the panel session this afternoon, so you'll hear a bit more about that. You'll see some of the others very much linking creativity, regeneration, innovation, and design-led focus to innovation, because the creative industries was a key part of this project. So that gives you an overview of the InCompass project. And what I'd like to do now is to hand you over to the chair for today's event. Stan Ewer, on the end of the table, is the Head of Economic Development at Dundee City Council. So Dundee and Angus College have been working very closely in partnership with Dundee City Council as part of this project to ensure that our regional implementation planning process works well. So Stan has very kindly agreed to chair the session today. And I'd just like to hand you over to Stan, whose role is to chair, keep to time, and to make sure that you know which parts of the programme we're coming to at this juncture.